Welcome back to the Hair Curler Chronicles. Usually it's Tim and Nancy Danter, but today it's just Nancy again with my really dear friend Debbie Peltola-Salmons. And we have a new topic to talk about. We're not talking about crypto for beginners today. Today, we are going to talk about more on the line of that financial diet. We haven't really touched on it too much as part of the journey that that Tim and I have been on, but it's certainly
all of us have been on it. Me too.
Yeah. So, but it's certainly something that is absolutely crucial. You can't just look at one aspect of investing and think that you've got it all down pat. For sure not. So today, I just thought what we would do is talk about. I think I want to start at savings if I can, because that's part of the financial diet is ways that you can save money and on your day-to-day. And you and I over the years have certainly talked about all the kinds of things that we can do to save money and why, and it does make a difference. It does make a difference. It's painful, but it makes a difference.
It does. And people, I don't know, it's my feeling that so many people hear savings and they just like cringe and they think, I can't possibly do it. I can't do it. I'm not even making enough money to survive, right? So the idea of saving is really foreign to them. And like you say, you and I have been down this road for over 10 years.
Yes.
And it actually becomes exciting, doesn't it?
It really, really does. And so for the viewers who are watching today, if this is something that has really been on your mind, that you know that you've probably got some spillage, slippage, however way you want to call it, some air coming out of your tires when it comes to your finances, then this video is for you. So welcome back again, Debbie. I really, really appreciate your time today. And let's just jump right in, because I know that you taught me a lot on the savings thing, and I implemented a lot of what we talked about. I would say it was many years ago that we started talking about it. Yeah.
I think at least 9. Well, because here's the thing, right, Nance? Saving is really a no-brainer. Everybody should be considering saving, and you really need to have a nest egg. And not to, step on anybody's toes at this period in history, but the masses have discovered due to COVID how important it is to have a nest egg. And you're in Canada, I'm in the US. I don't want to give a false statistic, but it's really high. I feel like it's like 1 out of 3 Americans or something have no savings at all.
Right.
Right. And so that being said, people need how, right? They need practical ideas. So I'm going to give a couple. And if you want, we can talk about them a little bit. I've got like 8 are kind of my top ones.
Okay. So before we get into that, I think just to step back, the number one thing I think maybe it's on your 8. I think the number one thing, first thing that you have to do is you actually have to write a family budget. And that is a horribly hard thing to do sometimes, to actually look at what you're doing. Yes. And I think the more honest you can be with yourself, the worse picture you can paint is probably better to start off up front with it. Is that sort of what you and Billy did when you first started? You did a budget, and you wrote everything down of what you were doing.
Well, Nance, I'm going to let a secret out of the bag about you, so your viewers are going to know this. But when we first started talking about this stuff, you wouldn't even look.
No, I knew it was bad.
You wouldn't even look at your finances. And I was looking at mine and not liking them. Right? So absolutely. That's number 1 on my list is got to keep track of your spending and your budget. What's coming in, what's going out to the penny.
Yeah.
Because so many, when Billy was on the road as a sales rep, he would understandably, he'd pull into a store and he'd grab a diet soda or something, or a bar. A candy bar, not a candy bar, like a Nutri-Grain bar or something. You pay a fortune for that. Well, many of us think, well, what's the big deal? It's a big deal. It adds up.
Right.
Right. It's those little things that add up more than the big purchase.
Yes, I remember you telling me the candy bar, not candy bar, but the NutriBar soda story, and that was a big, because I think I mindlessly spent on all of that stuff too. And just for the viewers to know, you can go onto any bank site here in Canada, and I'm pretty sure it's probably the same in the US, but they have all these free downloadable family budget tools. You don't even have to, you just go to your bank, go to their website. They have all kinds of tools. They want you to help you with this. This is the one thing I will say they will help you with, is you can download a spreadsheet and just, and make it easy for yourself. You don't have to spend any money on it. Just download it and away you go. Or just a piece of paper and a pencil if you're old school like us.
Yeah, that's what I did. I had a piece of paper and a pencil, and and I started with, at the time, my mortgage, my car payment, the electric bill, and you go through every single thing. And you do it as a family because sometimes people remember other things. Like the kids, it might be lunch money. It might be, music lessons, whatever it is, you've got to know, because if you don't know, you can't steer the ship.
Right. And I think just to add two things here is that, yes, this takes time to do. And I know we're all busy people. But if you don't take the time to do this crucial step, you're not going to take the time to do anything else. And somebody told me one time, and I'm not sure if it was even you, that oftentimes we don't need to make as much money on a side hustle as we think we need to make. Right. If we can just get an idea of what we actually are spending and what are essential spends versus what are discretionary spends. And so that's number one, is just take the time to do this. Take the time to do this. Take the time to do this.
It's worth it.
It's worth the time to do this. The second thing is that, generally speaking, and I'm making a huge generalization here, that that men seem to do this easier and better than women, and there's no reason why women can't do this just as well as men. And if you are listening to this as a viewer and you don't know, the best thing we can do for ourselves as women is to empower ourselves and to really know and pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you just a little adage on that, the woman and men thing, and my husband being on the road at the time. I felt badly, always kind of saying to him, you're wasting money. And I said, just let me go to a big box store and buy you a case of those, Nutri-Grain bars and your drinks, because the price is ridiculous. He still didn't recognize it. So I want to tell you what I did. I don't even know if I ever told you this, Nance, but at the time, he got to have an expense account, and we had a Discover card. Well, Discover card would split the bill so that you could see exactly what I spent and he could see exactly what he spent. After 2-month statements, he took a look at it, and I showed him. I was running the entire household. I was purchasing a brand new washing machine if I needed to. I was buying the groceries. I was doing that. He wasn't. He spent more in a month than I did, and I was in control of everything else. That was a light bulb, which, let me just tell you, that's going to lead to number 2, which you already alluded to. Okay. Number 2 is separating your wants from your needs.
Yeah.
Right? You already alluded to that. And listen, this is the hard part, you guys. We live in a society where we want everything, and we want it yesterday. But you can't come out of the gate that way and have long-term financial health. You can't.
Right.
So you've got to identify that. And you and I, we did a lot of talking about that, because I think at the time for you, was Tim Hortons or something in the States, like people go to Starbucks, you're paying $5-6 a couple times a day. Do you really need to?
Right.
Or do you just want to?
Right.
And people think that, well, if I don't get what I want, I'm sacrificing. Yes, you are. But you're sacrificing for your future health and your future financial health, right?
Yeah.
So what number 3? Where do you want to go on that one?
I think that the thing with that is it then you have to I think at the very beginning of this is deciding what you really want. And if you want a better financial outlook for yourself and your family, then, and you decide that as a couple or as a single if you're by yourself, but if you decide that that's what you want, that you want a nice big investment account and you want your debts reduced and you want all that sort of stuff, you have to have that as more of a burning desire of a want than all the day-to-day little things that you're just, the money is just slipping out of your pocket on. Because if you can have it like that, then it makes the exercise much better. Because I fought Tim tooth and nail on the financial diet. I was probably miserable. I would say, oh,
you were miserable for a little while.
Oh yeah. But then he would say that, he goes, remember what the goal is. Remember what the goal is. Remember what the goal is. And I've always been clear that my goal is I want to be able to retire down in Florida with you. And so in order to do that, I've got to sacrifice now so that I can live the life that I want to in retirement. And that it's not been terrible. Now I'm used to it. So.
And here's to add on to that, Nance. I'm a huge advocate of teaching our children this. They've missed the boat, right? Because they're mass media, buy. You've got to have this. Well, I've done this with my children. Like you said, get your family involved. And I can tell you, my sons, absolutely, when they look at a purchase, they actually know, is this a want or a need? And what is my goal? And my youngest son wanted a big game system, right? And so I talked to him and I said, okay, so make that your goal. So you go on this financial diet, even at a young age, so that your goal is to get to there to buy that game system and you pay cash for it. Because that leads into my second thing, which is credit, right?
Okay.
And credit cards. You have got to avoid using credit cards to purchase things unless you're going to pay that credit card off at the end of the month. Now, I know that it's hard. And there was a time in my life where I had to pay an electric bill with my credit card, right? There were times that I had to do that. And it was a really, difficult decision. But it was that or the other. But in general, and I used to talk about this with my dad, who taught me a lot about finances. Everything changed when credit cards were introduced.
Yeah.
My father lived his life. He never, ever paid interest, not one time, on a credit card. It was paid off every month. They didn't even have mortgages. They bought everything for cash, right? That's gone by the wayside. Right. So, but I really, credit card gets people into massive, massive trouble. Yeah. And you have the mindset about wants and needs. And the only way I can get this thing that I want is to pay for it by credit. Please don't do it. At least not while you're on this financial diet.
Well, and I will tell you the one tip that really helped us, and it's difficult because the bank gets all funny when you do this. Tim and I do only have a limit on our credit card that is less than what I make every week. Not what we make combined, what I make every week. So not every week, every other week, because I get paid every other week. So my credit card limit is less than what I make every other week. And the thought process was, at no point can we ever get ourselves into trouble that I can't get it completely paid off in 1 week, in one pay. Sorry, I keep saying 1 week, one pay cycle. And guess what? You can put money on credit cards ahead. Like, so say you wanted to go on a big trip or something and you needed to have the credit card to do that. The bank lets you actually put more money on your credit card than, and it's a trick that keeps you on your toes and it never lets you get into any trouble. And I'm telling you, it's made the world of difference for Tim and I.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great tip, Nance. I didn't even know that. And the other one is this, okay? You've got to set up auto pay on these credit cards if you have them. If you have them, you've got to set it up on auto pay, because you miss one day on one payment and you're tanking your credit score.
Right.
So Pay more than that, but at least have it set so that the minimum, I always say minimum plus $10. If you know you're in a struggle and you're trying to get out of this, minimum plus $10 auto pay so that your credit is staying healthy.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Okay, what's the next one? Because we've had three now.
The next one is to save regularly. And here's what absolutely people say, but I can't. There's no way. Like at the end of the month, I don't have enough money to even pay all my bills. Well, I'm going to recommend to your audience that if you haven't, please read small little book by George S. Clason called The Richest Man in Babylon. Okay. I started, my father gave me that book. I think I was in 4th grade. I give it to every kid that I know that graduates high school. And here's the basic premise, all that we're going to talk about with you and I, Nance, is you must pay yourself first. What does that mean? That no matter however you get increase into your life, whether it's you sell something or, you know, your pay or whatever, you take 10% or somebody gives you money for your birthday is what happened with my kids. And I taught them 10% of that goes into a savings account and you don't touch it. You don't touch it. The only reason I ever touched the savings account money, and I've taught my children, is because you don't make much interest. But when it gets to a certain point that you can then move that into some type of account, again, I don't know in Canada what you have. We have CDs, different things here. You move it in that where you get some interest. But you don't touch that, because here's what will happen. You won't have that extra latte at Tim Hortons. You won't have it at Starbucks. If you pay yourself first, you'll find a way to adapt. But if you wait till the end of the month, you won't. You'll spend every dime.
Right.
So,
agreed.
I mean, that is really important.
So for my viewers, we'll put a link down below in the description box to The Richest Man in Babylon. So if you want to go and check out that book, that you can go down and do that. So so no worries there. We got you covered. We'll make sure we got a link down below.
I love it. So here's another one. I love that we've talked about a lot of these, Nance. This one, be careful about overspending on gifts, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like Nance and I have talked immensely about Christmas and the craziness that surrounds Christmas. Please understand that people that hopefully you love and care about and your friends and family, I really believe they want your time more than they want that overexpensive gift that you've got to purchase for them. To do what? To put yourself in debt, to show somebody that you care about them. I please, it's really not what people want. People want your time. Yeah. So when you go, now I can talk about my brother because he won't see this. I have one brother and I have a sister. My brother always had to buy my mother the biggest present ever. Always. And it was a joke in our family. Yeah, you got to make the rest of us look bad. But here's what I know from my mother. She'd say, I wish he wouldn't do that. I wish he wouldn't spend that amount of money. I don't need him to. I can get what I need or want myself. What I want is him to come over for lunch.
Right.
So really think about it, guys.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah, the gift giving thing is a real tricky one for sure, because people feel like they're showing people love by doing that. And the truth is that I love giving gifts when it's a spontaneous random thing, and I see this thing and I went, oh, Debbie would really like this pink hammer. She would love this. I know she's been talking about a pink hammer. I gotta get this pink hammer for her so that I can give it to her. And that brings me joy because you've been talking about it and I saw it, and who doesn't need a miniature pink hammer? But anyways, I love doing those things, but forced gift giving, oh, it makes me crazy. It's just, I can't stand it. And I've now got to the place where I've had those honest conversations with my friends and family, and we've minimized Christmas to the point of it's just my 2 kids, and it's very minimal, and they know it, and it's all about, for me, it's all about just hanging out and having a good time together.
Because really, it may sound cliche, but it's true. It's the thought that counts.
Yeah.
It really is not the price of the gift.
Right.
And so if you're on a financial diet and you want to change it, please think about it. Right.
Right. Right.
This one we did. And actually, I took my cue from you on this. Downgrade or cut off your services that you don't need. Right. And I remember when you guys shut off cable, Billy and I were right behind you because I said, first of all, we don't even use it. We don't even watch it. It's useless. And the prices were exorbitant.
Yeah.
Exorbitant. So by creating the budget and your spending that we talked about as the first thing you have to do, you can then dissect all these things. And do I really need this? And so many auto payments are set up that people forget that you even have. Go in there and look.
Right.
Do you need them? Do you need to be paying for cable and stars and whatever else thing? You know, do you need this add-on?
Right.
You know, take a look and dissect it. Because what else did you guys did? You did a lot of that in the beginning.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of all the things, but it was definitely like subscriptions. I got rid of subscriptions to a bunch of stuff. Now again, for this viewership, people might not understand, but magazines were a big thing. People used to get subscriptions to magazines, but it's no different than getting a subscription to various services like I'm trying to think of all the ones that I'm subscribed to now. Now that we're talking about this, I'm like, maybe I should go back and look at some of these because I think you do things and then you don't realize that you've left it as an auto thing and you should get off of that. So if you don't, I think I'm trying to think of the things that
I can tell you, I had a few subscriptions to different, like creative sites online that, I want to learn how to make this website, or I want to learn how to make this graphic. Oh, it's only $4.99 a month. I'll sign up. I used it once. I forgot about it. It's an auto payment.
Right.
So you have to dissect it. Again, it's always going to go back to number one, and you've got to know where it's going. Right.
Right. And you got to be looking at it monthly because something will come out that you forgot about that you had signed up for a year ago. And then all of a sudden it comes out and you're like, darn it, this is no good. And some of these subscriptions you need to send in writing 30 days in advance. So it's almost like you have to set aside sometime every month and go, okay, it's almost like whatever day you pay bills. I don't know if people set up a regular time in the month to pay their bills. But yeah. I would be reviewing at that point in time.
And speaking of reviewing, I love this. This flows right in. You need to review at least once a year, maybe twice, depending upon how you're set up on all your insurances, your house insurance, your property insurance, your car insurance, all of those things. Because sometimes here in the States, you can pay 6 months or a year.
Yeah.
And of course, if you can pay it a year, you're going to get a discount to begin with. So that's really good. But all of that stuff changes all the time. So you should be taking a look and making sure you're getting the best rate.
Right.
Right.
And I would say if you get a better rate and say you save yourself $150 on your auto insurance or something like that, then take the money that, because you were going to pay it anyways, and put it back in that savings account because you just found that money. You were going to pay it anyways. Put it into your savings account and pretend like, oh, I didn't really get it. You know, at least realize that savings in the first year.
Yeah. And so that brings me to the last one, which connects to that as well, which is, okay, so you free up money. Stay in the wants and needs. Put it towards the debt or put it in a savings account. Please don't just go, oh, it's free money, I can go buy something.
Right.
Here's the last one. You've got to live below your means. Live below your means, no matter what that is, right? Yeah. Spend less than you're making. The big one that's always talked about here in the United States is Warren Buffett, right? One of the wealthiest men. Warren still lives in the same house in a little suburb that he's lived in his entire life. Yeah. He still drives a Ford Taurus, right? Now, I'm not saying that, if you are in a place where, you've done all of this and you can financially live in a bigger house or, have a fancy car, that's okay too. But please don't do it out of the get-go. Don't go buy the fancy car and the fancy house that you can't afford to impress someone, to then be broke later.
Right. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And I will say that one of the things that when talking about living below your means, Tim and I did a video with our really dear friend Lisa Blackwell. We did 2 videos all on saving money on your grocery bill, because that's a big expense for most of us. We have to eat 3 meals a day, most of us, and some people like snacks. And guess what? We got to do that 7 days a week. 365 days of the year. So it's a huge expense for us. So I would highly encourage you, if you wanted to see some more, I'll put the links to those videos down below in the description, just so that you have a few more. If you really want to follow this journey along, I would highly recommend that you watch those videos. I immediately implemented some of those suggestions, and it's made a difference for me even in the few short weeks since we had that video. So anyways, you know what, Debbie, this has been really, really great. I know we've been talking about wanting to do something on the financial diet for a while. It goes along hand in hand. If you do this part right, you will free up more money for your investing, whether that's stocks, if that's what you want to do, or whether that's crypto, like what I like to do. You can't skip this step. You must, this must be part of your journey. And I appreciate your time today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And I'm so really passionate about people understanding this as well.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
Take care, Nan.